everybody. Today I thought I'd bring to you a matching bangle and earring set. I don't very often make bangles, I find them a little tricky, but I thought I'd show you how I do mine. It's going to be like a distressed look. Well, you can see from the thumbnail what it's going to look like, but I guess it's kind of a distressed look. I have a hard time knowing what to call things. But anyway, you're going to need some kind of bangle form to put your clay around to make the shape of the bangle, obviously. I'm just using this round cutter. I know it fits me, so that's what I'm using. You're also going to need some white clay, and you're also going to need a clay extruder, which is one of these. It's basically a tube with a handle, and if you don't know what that is, I'll just quickly show you. So you've got your tube, and you put a sausage of clay in there, okay, and then the extruders come with different shapes, and for the bangle that I'm doing today I've used this half circle. So just pop that in there and screw it on, and then you just crank the handle. It's quite difficult doing it on camera, so you crank the handle, keep turning it, and then eventually you'll see the clay start to come out of the other end. So that's what I've done, and I've done 2 strips of these to fit round the bangle form. And I'll just show you quickly. You can kind of see it's flat on one side, domed on the other, and a semicircle here. So all you've got to do is take your bangle form, and you can make your bangles as thick as you want. I used to really love the thick cuff bangles, but I kind of don't like how they look on me, and I prefer a thinner bangle now. So just place it round the bangle form, get it as straight as you can, make sure it's stuck down. Make sure I'll try and get it as level as I can, and then just cut away that excess to make a nice neat join. Okay, smooth that join out. This is the thing with bangles, they tend to be a bit fiddly and time consuming. So that's that piece done, and then take the second piece and just butt it up against to the first piece. So you can see it's a slightly thicker bangle now. Make sure it's really pushed up to that first piece because they need to be sticking together. And this is just the base of the bangle. We're going to decorate the top, and we're also going to do a layer of clay underneath the bangle. So this is going to take a bake for the base. I might do a 3-part bake. It depends how fiddly it's going to get. So we do this bake first, and then we will decorate it and bake it, and then we'll add that'll be easier. Then I'm not messing it up, am I? Because you can tend to, if you like messing with unbaked clay, and it gets all messy. But anyway, so yeah, this is going to be a 3-part bake. So this will be the first bake, and that's all there is to it for this part, because you're literally just baking this base. Okay, so I'm just making sure it's nice and smooth all the way around. Make sure it's stuck to each other, and it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to cover it, but make sure the seams are nicely blended together, because that's going to be the weaker point in the bangle if you're not careful. But because there's 2 more layers going on, it's not going to be a problem. Anyway, so that's ready to go in the oven, and I'm going to bake it for 30 minutes. And then like I said, I wanted to do some earrings to go with it, so I'm literally just going to cut out some shapes, and these will be decorated, but they're just going into bake like this for now. So these are going to be the earrings, but I just want to snip the edges off. I don't quite like those points. Okay, so the base of the bracelet, of the bangle, is going into bake for 30 minutes alongside the blank earring bases for 30 minutes. I'll be back when they're baked. This has been baked for 30 minutes, so obviously it's still flexible, which is a good thing. And I've rolled out some strips of clay, one just to cover the base and get it nice and smooth before we do the final layer on top. So this is rolled onto a number 5, so it's fairly thin, and this is rolled onto a number 2, but I might roll it a little bit thinner. We'll see how it looks when I've done this bit. So all you got to do now is take your base and apply some liquid clay to it. Just give it a good rub over with that. Make sure the whole thing's covered. Just wipe my hands off. And then take the thinner strip that you rolled out and place it onto the form. Try and avoid where the other joins were, do it in a different place. And just wrap it round. Till it meets the other side. Remove the excess. Oops. And then just join up those seams and smooth them out. And this is just giving a little bit of a smoother surface to work on, and not such an obvious ridge in the middle. And then just start to smooth it down onto the sides. So continue to smooth it out, and then you can cut off the edges just to neaten it up a little bit. Okay. And then you can just smooth it around with your finger a little bit. This bit isn't as important as the top layer, but I like to get it as smooth as I can anyway. Just keep smoothing it around the edges. And any excess that's like leaked over, so to speak, just scrape it off with the knife, and then work on the other side. So the first layer is on, and now we're just going to apply the second layer. You don't need to add liquid clay to this because it's raw to raw clay. And I did roll it out thinner, guys. It would have been, it looked a bit too chunky otherwise. So this is rolled onto a number 4. Just going to straighten the edge a little bit. And again, lay it over the top. Do it in a different place from the last join. And you're just going to do the same thing. Need to take more care on this though, because obviously this is the last layer on top. And I'm just gently pushing it down to the sides and very gently smoothing it over. And this does take some time, and it is kind of fiddly, which is why I don't make them very often. But just take your time and get it as smooth as you can. So once I've finished doing that, I'll be back. I don't want to bore you with all this because it does take some time, and I probably will mess with it for quite a while. So I'll be back in a sec. So I've been messing around with this for a while and getting it as smooth as possible. I mean, I'm not the best at getting it as some people are so good at making them look perfectly smooth, but I think that's the best I can get it. And then you can always add a little bit of alcohol, just rub it over, and that will smooth it out some more. You could be here forever getting it perfect, but that's what mine looks like so far. Okay, so the next step then, we'll just leave that to one side for the moment, is to make some decoration for the bangle and also for the earrings that I already pre-baked. So I'm going to take my different stamps and I'm just going to press it into the clay, and I'm just looking for my block. So just take your block and press as deep as you can without going all the way through, obviously. And you can use any stamp you want. And then all I'm going to do is shave off as thin as possible a layer of this stamp, and that's what's going to be used as decoration. So that's the first one. I'm going to use it. This is a snowflake, but it's kind of lacy looking, and I think it will look really nice. So again, just press. And the nice thing about this project is there isn't much waste either, because you are just using one colour. So again, just try and get a very thin slice. It's not sticking very well. And it doesn't matter if it breaks, it's all part of the charm. This is meant to be a distress bracelet, so there's another little piece that can be laid over. Of course you have to keep rolling out the clay to do your next stamps. So I'm just rolling it out onto the thickest setting each time. and get this to stick a bit better. And then I'm just going to go through different stamps. Ow, that was my finger. Did you hear that crack? Okay. Stuck a little bit. Same thing. Just take off. You're almost like just shaving, sliding the blade from side to side just to get the shaving of the stamp. So I'm just going to keep doing that with different stamps, and then we'll start adding them to the bangle. So I've shaved off all my little pieces. Obviously if I need more I can do more, but I think we've got enough here. And it's just a question of now applying these individual pieces to the bangle, and they're going to be very delicate, so just very gently lift them and press down onto the bangle. And then fold down onto the sides, and then this will be trimmed away. Now you can cover the whole thing, or you can just do a few pieces here and there. It's entirely up to you. This one's very delicate. I'm going to do it close to this other piece. That's all you need to do, just as much as you want on the bangle. And some of these pieces are not even complete pieces, which is what I wanted. You can do more complete pieces, but it's more difficult to get them complete when you're shaving it so thin. But because this is more of a distressed look, I like it with the more fragmented pieces. Oops. So I'm going to cover the whole bangle, I think, because I think it looks nice, and also it covers up some of the not so perfect bits of the bangle. Don't forget you need to save some pieces for your earrings as well, but it really doesn't take long to fill up. I think I'm going to leave that for my earring, not for the other earring, because I want them to somewhat match. And I think these two pieces can go on the earrings. So that bit looks a bit, I don't think I'll bother with that piece. So fragile. And then this piece here. And then we can fit one more piece on this, and that's good. So you've got this beautiful lacy look all over the bangle, and then it's just a question of tidying up the edges. I've got a few blank spots, but that's okay because I want to add some crackle as well. So then we'll move on to doing the earrings. So these have already been baked, and I'm just going to add liquid clay to the bottom of each one. I'm not covering the whole earring. Probably just take it halfway up and maybe have a few little tendrils at the top. this piece with this earring and just lay it over there. And same for this one. Don't have to entirely match, I guess. Actually, there's a bigger piece there. Use this piece instead. Okay. And we've still got a few more little pieces we can play with. I could always add another little piece. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Add another little piece at the top, so there's just a bit in the middle that hasn't got the stamped pieces on it. So I just need a little bit more liquid clay. Just add it on there. I'm just going to let those sit for a bit, and then we need to trim away the edges. So let's go back to the bangle, because now we need to just get rid of these excess bits. And you just cut round with your knife, and there's only a few little pieces to remove. And then the other side. And get rid of any crumbly bits that are left. So that's that done, and you can mess with it as much as you want, but I'm pretty happy with this now. So now comes the crackle part, and it's just a case of adding the crackle medium that I always use, the Distressed Crackle by Ranger, this one. And then leave it to dry, and then once it's dry it will go in the oven again for another 30 minutes, and then we need to finish the bangle off with an inside layer as well. So this is time consuming, but I think it's worth it because I think the results are going to look really nice. Okay, so I've got my bangle tidy and nice, and now I'm just going to add, I'm not going to add a lot of this, it's just here and there little spots of crackle. And as you know, or as you may know, the more crackle you put on, then the more crackle paint you put on, then the thicker the crackle. So in some places I'm putting it on fairly thick, particularly in those blank areas. So you can got the pattern, but then there's some blank areas here. So I'll put it on fairly thick in those areas, I think, and on the edges as well. Oops. And here. And just in a few spots here and there on the actual stamped areas, but only a little bit. So I'm just going to put this to one side and leave it to dry and let the crackle paint do its thing. And then once that's dry, it will go into the oven again. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that to one side. Now I've got the earrings to do, we just need to tidy these up a little bit. So I'm just going to take my blade and just, oops, wrong way, just cut off that excess that's hanging over. Same with this one. Just put it off with your finger, really. Oops. And I will resin the back of these as well, just to give them a little bit more, not strength, but make them more rigid, so they're a bit more durable. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling on today, aren't I? But you get the idea. So, want to do the same thing with the earrings. Obviously, I'm not putting it on the baked clay. I'm just adding it to the raw clay. Moved up a little bit, and just a touch of crackle on the earrings. And same thing, leave them to one side until it's completely dry, and then pop them in the oven. So I'll be back when they are baked, and we'll move on to the final step. Okay guys? Okay, so this has been fully baked, and I also did the inside. I didn't want to bore you showing you that, but basically I just rolled out a strip of clay on a number 3 and I stamped it on the inside, and that's what it looks like. So now we just need to add the acrylic paint. So I'm using a dark colour. I'm using what's it called? Chocolate brown? Oh, bittersweet chocolate. So we're going to do that first, and I'm just going to brush it all over the piece. Get it in those little crevices. I'm not going to go all the way around. I'm going to leave myself a little bit to hold on to, and then wipe off this that I've already done. Get on the inside as well. And then it's a question of getting a damp cloth and just wiping it back off again. kind of looks like ivory. That would be cool. Could just leave it like that. I was intending on adding some colour. I need to think about this one now. I think I'll stick to what I was originally going to do. But look how cool that looks. That actually looks like ivory. And you can see where the crackle took as well in these areas. So that's the first part done. Just need to do the rest. A bit more brown paint. You could add another layer of brown if you wanted to. You could build it up even more. I'm just going to leave that to settle for a second while I do the earrings. So same thing on the earrings. Just brush it all over. I'm not worried about the backs because I'm going to resin the backs of these. I'm going to add some silver glitter or something. I just like to do that because obviously, you know, when clay is properly cured and it's thin enough, it does have a slight bend to it, and I like my earrings to feel more rigid. So I will be adding resin to the back of these. Okay, so let's go back to the bangle and just finishing wiping this off. That looks nice. I use a wipe for that, I think. So now I'm going to add, oh wait, we need to wipe off the earrings, don't we? Nice crackle on the stamped area. Don't know if you can see it. So that's the brown patina, and I'm going to move on to some shades of bluey greens, I think. Oops, maybe not that much. Okay, so I've got Laguna, and it's apple barrel. You can get these from Walmart, they're really cheap. That's Laguna. And I've also got Bahama Blue. And turquoise. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to use these patinas. So I'll just start with the darkest, and I'm just going to add it. I'm not going to add it all over. I'm just going to go random places with each blue. I'm not necessarily going to cover the whole bangle with the colour. So wherever you feel like putting it. Just get messy, who cares? Get my cloth again and just give it a quick wipe. I really only want a trace of colour. Because I want to give it that distressed look, that worn, aged look. And if you feel like you've got too much in areas, you can always really give it a good rub and rub it back off. Okay, so that's that one. Some of this turquoise in areas. Don't mind some of this to be a little bit darker actually, just in areas a little bit darker, like in the centre of this flower. Just play around with it, guys, and see how you like it. So that's basically it. So I'm going to go and finish adding up the colour, and then I am going to glaze it. I'm going to do that off camera because you don't need to see me glazing, but I'm basically using a matte glaze on this. So when I've finished these pieces, I'll come back and show you the finished product. I've finished and I've glazed them, and here is the bangle. Just turn it around for you to see all angles of it. And it's got that protective glaze on it, which does have, it's matte, but it does have a tiny shine to it. So that's the bangle. And then, of course, the earrings, which I think look beautiful. So there's the earrings. So this kind of worked out to be a 2-for-1 kind of tutorial. If you don't add the blue paint after, it really does look like faux ivory. So this tutorial is faux ivory / distressed look, so whichever you want to do. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Take care, I'll catch you all later. Bye.